Consent is always mandatory for all relationships.
If you are planning to hug,
Kiss,
grab,
Caress,
or perform any other physical contact with a person,
consent is needed.
in this video, we will break down the requirements for consent
and discuss strategies to communicate boundaries and desires with our partners.
For consent to happen, it must be
freely given,
Enthusiastic,
explicitly communicated,
informed,
reversible,
and ongoing.
It's important to get consent around
where and how you are touching and kissing,
What words or phrases you are calling your partner or partners and their body parts.
what safer sex practices you will use,
if or how you're engaging with kink,
and how you will engage in aftercare.
There are a lot of ways that we can communicate consent before and during partnered sexual activity.
That keep the space fun, exciting, and safe.
ask them what they like, how they want to be touched or kissed.
Ask them permission to touch or kiss them in specific places or ways.
You can ask these things in a fun and flirty way, but make sure to be clear about what you're asking.
Remember that consent is always informed.
Consent is mandatory for all sexual encounters.
Including during casual sex or hookup situations.
However, it might be a bit harder to communicate with someone you don't know very well.
Here are some things to consider.
Use specific questions and say yes
Yes.
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 out loud instead of nonverbal cues.
Nonverbal cues might be harder to read with someone you don't know.
Pay extra attention to body language and other nonverbal signals. Are they pulling you closer or pushing away? Are they kissing you back?
Since you don't know the person as well, you might not be used to their body language.
You may need to pay more attention to tell if you need to check in.
Remember, don't make assumptions about what someone likes.
Ask about it first.
There are other important areas of communication around sex
That ensure everyone feels affirmed and safe.
For example,
People use different terms to describe their body parts.
and types of sex they're having.
people may be uncomfortable, triggered, or feel dysphoric by descriptive words like
Hot,
Pretty,
Or handsome,
have an open conversation with your partner.
to ensure you're speaking to and about them.
in an affirming way.
always talk to your partner or partners about boundaries,
When it comes to body parts that you're comfortable,
Or not comfortable,
Having touched.
remember, you don't owe anyone an explanation as to why you don't want to be touched.
You can give one if it helps you feel comfortable and safe.
when you're with a new partner,
regardless of the nature of the relationship or the level of commitment.
There may be different conversations happening around outness.
Remember, disclosing your identity is always about doing what makes you feel safest.
Here are some things to consider when navigating disclosure of identities.
trust your instincts.
If you think the other person will be okay with it and you feel safe, tell them.
If you're hesitant, have exit strategies in place.
Consider letting a trusted friend know, or even ask them to be close by during the date.
Depending on the situation,
You may feel safer disclosing your identity to your date before meeting them.
ask questions beforehand to gauge their acceptance.
If someone discloses their identity to you prior to,
Or during a hookup or casual sex,
Consider your response.
be affirming and validating.
Ask them what they want or need in terms of support.
Don't ask intrusive questions.
this includes specifics about their body parts, their name, medical history, etc.
The only way to ensure you and your partner have a safe, comfortable, and pleasurable time
is through open and honest communication.
How can we start to open this dialogue?
Figure out what feels good for you beforehand.
Self-exploration through masturbation is a great way of finding out what pleasure looks like for you.
Reflect on your own desires.
Then ask your partner direct and specific questions to see if their desires align with yours.
What are you into?
What turns you on?
How can I make you feel good?
Would you like it if I went down on you?
Where do you like to be touched, kissed, held, etc.?
Do you like it when I touch you like this?
Or kiss you here?
You should never feel obligated to do anything you don't want to do.
Just because your partner was into something you wanted,
Doesn't mean you have to do what they want.
If it makes you feel uncomfortable.
You can care about your partner's pleasures while staying within your boundaries.
consider how your privilege or theirs
Might influence your thoughts, feelings, or how you might communicate them.
voicing your desires
Prior to your sexual encounter,
Might help both of you communicate your wants and boundaries clearly.
Before you are in the middle of a sexual encounter.
where it can sometimes be harder to have a full and honest conversation.
Remember to be respectful and non-judgmental no matter what the situation is.
In this video, we delved deeper
into the importance of communication,
Consent.
Boundaries.
and pleasure in our sexual encounters.
In our next video, we'll learn how to identify unhealthy relationships,
And what to do if you or someone you know is or has been affected by one.